Some people write Yelp reviews. Others? They sue snow globes and cheese puffs. In this next batch of real American lawsuits, reality once again puts satire out of business. Buckle up. You're about to feel a lot better about your life choices. 1. The case of the trapped toe. A woman sued a shoe store after her open-toe sandals got her toe jammed in an escalator at a mall. Her argument? The sandals should have come with a warning label. Something like, "Caution. May result in escalator entrapment and public humiliation." The shoe store argued it was user error, not footwear failure. But the woman stuck to her story, unlike her toe, which needed assistance from mall security and possibly a crowbar. Moral of the story? If your shoe exposes a toe, maybe don't take it for a ride. 2. The hot coffee debacle. This one's legendary. And no, it wasn't just about someone being clumsy. A woman sued McDonald's after spilling hot coffee in her lap and suffering third-degree burns. Everyone laughed, until they heard the coffee was served at over 180 degrees. That's not a drink, that's a lava spill in a cup. She won millions, and the case became a textbook example in law schools and comedy routines. But behind the memes, there's a real lesson. Maybe don't serve beverages at temperatures usually reserved for welding equipment. 3. The angry bride versus the wedding planner. A bride sued her wedding planner for $150,000 because the flowers were too pastel. Not dead, not wrong species, just too light in tone for her taste. Apparently, her dream wedding had been ruined by a rogue shade of blush pink. The planner, who likely aged 10 years during the lawsuit, argued everything was done by the book. But pastel trauma is real, folks. In the end, the bride didn't get the money, but she probably did get the reputation of Bridezilla Supreme. 4. The self-driving car blame game. A man took a self-driving car company to court after his autonomous vehicle ran a red light and got him a ticket. His claim? The car should have known better, because clearly if your car's smart enough to parallel park itself, it should also have a moral compass. The company responded that the driver still has to pay attention. Radical concept, I know. The judge ruled that while the car may have the AI, the man still had the license. Tough luck, future man. 5. The case of the exploding donut box. A customer sued a bakery after their box of donuts burst open mid-carry, sending pastries flying across the sidewalk. According to the plaintiff, it wasn't just a tragedy of lost breakfast. It was a public embarrassment. They demanded a refund and emotional damages. The bakery said the handle wasn't meant for long-distance transportation. So now we know. If you're carrying 6 Boston creams in a dream, maybe support the bottom. Or be prepared to reenact a pastry crime scene. 6. A kidnapper sues his hostages. In possibly the most audacious lawsuit ever filed, a man who kidnapped a group of people later sued them for escaping. He claimed they broke an agreement to stay put, and even accused them of causing him emotional distress. Shockingly, the court did not entertain his legal fantasy. He didn't win the case, but he probably won the title of most delusional plaintiff in American history. If nothing else, it's a good reminder. Just because you can file a lawsuit doesn't mean you should. 7. The alarm clock that didn't go off. A man sued a clock company after his alarm failed to wake him up for a job interview. He claimed the malfunction cost him irreparable career damage. The company countered that maybe he should have set a backup alarm, or, I don't know, gone to bed before 3 a.m. Either way, it turns out courts don't typically award damages for poor time management. And no, he didn't get the job, or the payout. But he did get featured in every Don't Be This Guy HR seminar ever since. 8. The popcorn lung lawsuit. This one sounds made up, but it's painfully real. A man sued a popcorn company after claiming the artificial butter flavoring caused him to develop a serious lung condition known as popcorn lung. The twist? He'd been eating 3 bags a day for a decade. A decade. That's less of a snack habit and more of a buttery lifestyle choice. He actually won the case, proving once again, just because something says butter-flavored doesn't mean your lungs are ready for it. 9. The fitness tracker. That fat-shamed. A man sued a fitness tracker company because the device made him feel attacked by constantly reminding him he didn't hit his step goals. He argued the tracker caused anxiety and damaged his self-esteem. The company responded with, "That's kind of the point?" The court agreed. It's a tracker, not a therapist. If you want praise for sitting still all day, buy a weighted blanket, not a step counter. Still, we all kind of feel attacked when our watch buzzes during a Netflix binge. 10. The unfair Monopoly game lawsuit. A die-hard board game enthusiast sued the creators of Monopoly, claiming that a recent rules update made it impossible to win without selling your soul or losing your friends. His frustration boiled over after a game night ended in flipped boards and damaged relationships. He argued the new version violated traditional game balance. The company, likely clutching their tiny silver top hat, didn't budge. The case didn't pass. Go didn't collect $200 and definitely didn't win him any friends at future game nights. 11. The emotional damage over misspelled name. A woman sued a coffee shop after baristas repeatedly butchered her name on her coffee cup. She claimed the constant misspellings caused her emotional distress and social embarrassment. We're talking minor errors here, like Caitlin becoming Catlin. Still, she insisted it felt like an identity crisis in a to-go cup. The shop offered her a free drink, but that wasn't enough to soothe her wounded ego. Because nothing says psychological trauma like a venti latte labeled Kevin. 12. The wedding cake disaster. A couple sued their bakery after receiving a chocolate wedding cake instead of the vanilla one they ordered. While some might call that a delicious accident, these newlyweds called it a culinary betrayal. They claimed emotional trauma and that their entire reception theme was ruined by the dark sponge. The bakery apologized, offered a refund, and likely took an oath never to confuse cake flavors again. The couple, however, wanted justice, and apparently very specific frosting. 13. The too many free samples case. A shopper filed a lawsuit against a grocery store for offering too many free samples, claiming it led to decision fatigue and shopping anxiety. That's right, too much free food caused stress. He said the variety overwhelmed him, made his shopping trip take longer, and cost him mental energy. The store's response? You're welcome. The case didn't go anywhere, but somewhere in a legal folder, there's a file labeled Sample-Induced Suffering. 14. The Wi-Fi signal complaint. A tenant sued their landlord for weak Wi-Fi signal strength, claiming it violated their right to modern living standards. Apparently, the internet dropped out in the bedroom, leading to rage quits, frozen Zoom calls, and existential dread. The landlord argued Wi-Fi was a courtesy, not a constitutional right. The court agreed, and the tenant was left to either move the router or themselves. Lesson: just because you're Netflix buffers doesn't mean it's time to lawyer up. 15. The allergic to water lawsuit. A man visited a water park, developed a rash, and sued the park for not warning him, despite being medically allergic to water. Yes, water. The park's defense was as simple as it was brutal. Why are you at a water park, sir? The man claimed they should have provided alternative options like dry rides or low moisture zones. The court wasn't buying it, and the man left high and dry, figuratively and, hopefully, literally. 16. A wedding photographer sued over ugly photos. A couple took their photographer to court for $100,000 after claiming he failed to capture their good side. They insisted the photos made them look awkward and tired, and demanded financial compensation for their public image being damaged. The photographer showed raw, unedited shots. Turns out, it wasn't the lens. While the court didn't rule in their favor, we now live in a world where your cheekbones can apparently cost 6 figures. 17. The Too Tight. Jeans lawsuit. A shopper filed a lawsuit against a clothing store after purchasing jeans that were, according to them, too tight for safe movement. They claimed the discomfort was severe and restrictive, resulting in temporary back pain and emotional suffering in the dressing room. The store argued that the customer chose the size themselves. The case stretched thin pretty quickly, and in the end, fashion may hurt, but apparently not in a way the courts care about. 18. The case of the runaway shopping cart. A man sued a grocery store, after a loose shopping cart in the parking lot rolled into his car, leaving a dent. His claim? The store failed to control the behavior of rogue carts. He demanded compensation and stricter cart containment protocols. The store argued that gravity and wind are hard to sue. The court offered a compromise: park uphill or invest in a bumper guard. Cart chaos remains undefeated. 19. The Angry Birds. Addiction case. A man sued the developers of Angry Birds, claiming the game's addictive design caused him to neglect his job, his partner, and his responsibilities. He argued the game was intentionally designed to hijack his attention and deserved financial accountability for the damage. The judge recommended he delete the app. The gaming company suggested the man consider restraint. It turns out, flinging birds at pigs isn't an acceptable legal excuse for wrecking your life. 20. The unlucky lottery ticket. One man sued a convenience store after buying a scratch-off ticket that didn't win, calling it defective. His reasoning? He believed the store should have known it wasn't a winner and warned him. He claimed emotional distress and loss of expected income. You read that right. He tried to sue because his gamble didn't pay off. The judge dismissed it immediately. But somewhere in that courtroom, Lady Luck facepalmed hard. 21. The case of the exploding soda. A man filed a lawsuit against a soda company after a bottle burst in his hands, soaking him and allegedly causing minor injuries. His argument? The label failed to explicitly warn him not to shake it before opening, because apparently, basic carbonation physics now require legal footnotes. The court wasn't too fizzy about his case, though. Spoiler, the lawsuit fell flat. But it does raise one important question. Do we need legal instructions for opening beverages now? 22. When the weather forecast breaks your heart. A woman sued a local TV station for a bad weather forecast. She claimed the report said clear skies, so she dressed light, got rained on, and ended up with frizzy hair and, according to her, the flu. Her claim? Emotional trauma and physical suffering. The station's defense? We're meteorologists, not oracles. The case was tossed faster than an umbrella in the wind. Honestly, if suing the weather worked, every wedding planner in the country would be rich. 23. Batman sued by Batman. In one of the most bizarre international legal feuds ever, the mayor of Batman, Turkey, yes, it's a real place, tried to sue Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan over using the name Batman without permission in The Dark Knight. No, Christian Bale wasn't served papers, though that would have made great TV. The city claimed psychological damage to its citizens. Warner Brothers didn't even flinch. Because apparently when you sue Batman, you better be prepared to disappear into the legal shadows. 24. The case of the dropped pizza slice. A man sued a pizzeria after a particularly greasy slice of pepperoni pizza slipped from his hand and landed directly on his designer suit. He claimed the pizza was unreasonably slick and demanded reimbursement for the dry cleaning and the trauma. The pizzeria responded that pizza is, well, pizza. The judge dismissed the case with the kind of restraint it takes not to laugh out loud in court. Perhaps next time, ask for napkins instead of legal representation. 25. The $1 trillion lawsuit against everyone. One man filed a $1 trillion lawsuit. Yes, trillion, with a list of defendants that included Oprah, the Pope, Beyoncé, and the Illuminati. He accused them of surveillance, emotional abuse, and cosmic mind interference. The court clerk likely needed a second monitor just to fit the list of names. The case was immediately dismissed, but the man did earn internet immortality and probably a restraining order from half of Hollywood. You can't buy that kind of crazy, or apparently sue it either. 26. A baseball fan sued for not catching a foul ball. A man sued a Major League Baseball stadium after a foul ball landed near his seat and someone else grabbed it first. He claimed the ball was rightfully his, as it fell into his designated area. The stadium argued that's not how physics or baseball work. The judge ruled that foul balls are fair game for anyone fast enough to catch them. Lesson? If you want the souvenir, bring a glove, and maybe work on your reflexes. 27. The haunted doll case. A collector sued an antique shop, claiming a doll they bought was clearly haunted and responsible for lights flickering, doors creaking, and an unsettling sense of dread. The shop's defense, the tag literally said, "quirky decor." The court ruled that hauntings aren't legally provable. Yet, the plaintiff didn't get a refund, but probably got a Netflix deal pitch. And the doll? Probably still staring from a shelf, plotting its next case. 28. The case of the unfair fortune cookie. A diner filed a lawsuit against a Chinese restaurant after cracking open a fortune cookie and reading, "Your patience is not your strongest virtue." He claimed it was psychologically harmful and targeted. The restaurant countered that fortunes aren't personality assessments, they're novelty slips. The judge agreed, though somewhere deep inside, probably felt personally attacked too. Either way, future cookies may now come with a disclaimer. Don't take it personally, Karen. 29. The Time. Someone sued Netflix for spoilers. A particularly dedicated binge watcher sued Netflix for revealing key plot twists in their autoplay previews. His argument: emotional damage and loss of narrative enjoyment. He claimed the next episode screen ruined character deaths, surprise cameos, and at least one major betrayal. Netflix advised him to use the skip preview button. The case didn't last long, but it did make a compelling argument for turning off autoplay. Or, reading a book. 30. A man sued God. Yes, really. A man in Nebraska filed a lawsuit against God, blaming him for widespread death, natural disasters, and emotional destruction. He demanded a cease and desist order from the Almighty. The catch? God didn't show up in court. The judge dismissed the case due to lack of a physical address for the defendant. Still, you have to admire the boldness. Most people pray. This guy served a subpoena. 31. The case of the green pool. A woman sued a public pool after her blonde hair turned an alarming shade of green due to high chlorine levels. She claimed emotional distress and irreversible aesthetic damage. The pool staff suggested she wear a swim cap like everyone else. She replied that fashion should never come with chemical consequences. The judge, likely trying not to laugh at aesthetic damage, dismissed the case. But hey, at least she briefly lived the dream of being a real-life sea witch. 32. The case of the exploding cookie. A man bit into a chocolate chip cookie only to hit a rogue walnut shell hidden inside. The result? A chipped tooth and a $5,000 dental bill. He sued the bakery for negligence, calling it a dessert ambush. The bakery argued the cookie was clearly labeled nutty. The case ended with a small settlement and a new warning sign. May contain actual nuts, no joke. Moral of the story? Sometimes cookies fight back. 33. Peanut butter and pickle crisis. A diner found himself in culinary chaos when his sandwich arrived with the pickle touching the peanut butter. He sued the restaurant, calling it psychologically traumatizing and an attack on lunch integrity. The diner claimed it triggered childhood food anxieties. The court didn't buy it, but now the kitchen double wraps pickles like hazardous material. Just another day in America, where even your sandwich can be a lawsuit waiting to happen. 34. The too chewy bagel case. A customer sued a bagel shop, claiming the bagel was so chewy it caused jaw pain and a minor TMJ flare-up. The shop's response: that's literally what a bagel is. The plaintiff said it was unreasonably dense. The case didn't hold up, just like the customer's bite strength. If you're not ready to chew through concrete, maybe skip the sesame. 35. The $100 million spelling error case. A real estate agent filed a lawsuit against a sign company after a simple typo on a billboard turned luxury condos into lurksury condos. He claimed the mistake scared off buyers and cost him millions. His argument? The typo made it sound like the building was haunted. The sign company apologized but refused to cover imaginary ghost-proofing costs. And thus, the most expensive typo in billboard history was born. 36. The escalator scare. A man sued a shopping mall after panicking mid-escalator ride, claiming it moved too fast and gave him vertigo. His demand? compensation for emotional damage, and a redesign of all escalators in the mall. The mall argued he could have just taken the stairs. The court ruled against him, but now he's probably back to using elevators. Or possibly climbing out windows. You know, for safety. 37. The toaster that burned toast. A man sued a toaster company after burning his breakfast, claiming the toaster had a malicious heating setting. He said the scorched bread ruined his morning and triggered mental anguish. The defense? Try using a lower setting next time. The judge suggested the same. The man didn't win, but his story lives on as a warning. Don't trust appliances when you're hangry. 38. The case of the soggy sandwich. A customer sued a deli, claiming his turkey sandwich was too soggy to enjoy, alleging it was a mayonnaise swamp. The deli said he ordered it extra mayo, and that's exactly what he got. The plaintiff argued the sandwich structure collapsed on first bite, causing emotional and structural instability. The court dismissed the case, and somewhere the sandwich is still drying out. 39. The case of the singing neighbor. A man sued his neighbor for loud and tone-deaf karaoke sessions, claiming the off-key vocals caused mental anguish and auditory distress. His biggest complaint? A weekly rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody that was anything but rhapsodic. The neighbor argued it was her passion. The judge recommended soundproofing and possibly singing lessons. Turns out in America, even your bad taste in music can land you in court. 40. The case of the lost remote. A hotel guest sued after claiming he lost the TV remote under the bed and couldn't retrieve it without physical strain. His demand? A full refund for the inconvenience of crawling around on the carpet. The hotel staff retrieved the remote in under 30 seconds and offered a complimentary drink. He still sued. The case didn't win, but it did inspire a new hotel policy, tethering remotes like tiny captive dolphins. 41. The defective ladder case. A man sued a ladder company after falling and injuring himself, claiming the product was defective. But here's the twist. He used the ladder upside down. That's right. He stood on what was clearly labeled not a step and seemed surprised when gravity followed through. The court didn't need a long deliberation. The company won, and the man went down in legal history as proof that instructions exist for a reason. Spoiler: the ladder didn't fail. His common sense did. 42. The difficult crossword. Lawsuit. A frustrated crossword enthusiast sued a major newspaper, claiming their weekend puzzle was unsolvable and intellectually damaging. He demanded compensation for stress, time wasted, and a bruised ego. The editors calmly pointed out that thousands of readers had solved it. The man still insisted it violated his rights as a logic-based thinker. The judge likely used the ruling as his word of the day. Dismissed. 43. The drunk burglar. In what can only be described as karmic comedy, a burglar tried to rob a house, tripped over a child's skateboard on the way out, and broke his ankle. He then sued the homeowner for unsafe conditions. Yes, the criminal wanted damages for being bad at crime. The court laughed him out the door. The only thing more bruised than his ankle was his sense of entitlement. Lesson? If you're going to break the law, maybe watch where you're stepping. 44. The car dealer who promised a jet. A luxury car dealership ran an ad jokingly promising a free fighter jet with purchase. One customer called their bluff, bought the car, then demanded his aircraft. When they laughed it off, he sued, and almost won. The court ruled the ad was misleading enough to be taken seriously. The dealership didn't lose a jet, but they probably rewrote their marketing strategy. Moral? Don't promise Top Gun perks unless you're ready to fly. 45. The cheese puff crisis. A woman sued a snack company after eating a bag of cheese puffs on her white couch, then discovering the orange dust left permanent stains. Her demand? A new couch and emotional compensation. The company argued that cheese dust is kind of the whole point. The court agreed. And now we all know, don't eat radioactive colored snacks on anything you can't bleach or sue over. 46. The perfect snow globe case. A snow globe collector sued a gift shop after purchasing a globe that, according to him, didn't snow evenly. He claimed emotional disappointment and product misrepresentation. The store argued that it's a novelty item, not a weather simulator. Still, he insisted it ruined his winter aesthetic. The judge gave him a refund, probably just to get him to stop talking about flake density. Yes, snow globe snobs exist. And yes, they're litigious. 47. The time a man sued for too much foam. A man took a coffee shop to court over what he described as a foam fraud. His latte had more foam than coffee, and he claimed he was shortchanged on caffeine and dignity. He presented photographic evidence of the offending beverage, as if he'd discovered a cappuccino crime scene. The judge ruled the proportions were within normal limits. But hey, at least someone's finally standing up for undercaffeinated citizens. 48. The lawnmower as a hedge trimmer. Case. A man decided his lawnmower could double as a hedge trimmer. Predictably, it didn't end well. After injuring himself, he sued the manufacturer for not warning against alternative uses. The company responded with a single line: "It's a lawnmower." The case was chopped down swiftly, and the man likely went back to gardening the old-fashioned way, without industrial blades at eye level. 49. The $5 million energy drink lawsuit. One man sued an energy drink company for false advertising because, despite drinking cans for years, he never grew wings. He referenced the slogan, "It gives you wings," and claimed it created false expectations of flight. The company argued it was obviously metaphorical. The court agreed. But for a brief moment, a judge had to seriously consider whether someone had been grounded by branding. No wings were awarded, just a lot of headlines. So, after all these lawsuits, here's the real question. If someone can sue over a melting ice cream cone or an emotional support peacock, what's stopping you? Seriously, what would you sue for if there were zero consequences? Drop it in the comments, but don't hold back. Make it weird. And if you're still not subscribed, maybe I'll file a lawsuit for emotional neglect. Don't test me.